The Little Rock, Arkansas chapter of Links Incorporated sponsored Black KARE's project, which stands for Kidney Awareness Research and Education. I'm Dr. Gloria Richard Davis, Vice President for the Little Rock chapter of Links Incorporated.
I'm Dr. Akilah Jefferson Shaw. I was the Health and Human Services Facet Chair in 2022 to 2023. So, Dr. Richard Davis, what is Black KARE?
So Black KARE stands for Black Kidney Awareness, Research, and Education. And the Little Rock chapter of Links was very privileged to have been awarded a grant through our Central Area Links and Baxter Pharmaceutical that allowed us to really educate our communities and empower them about chronic kidney disease awareness. When we look statistically, Black communities are 3 times more likely to experience chronic kidney disease. And other health disparities that we see is that 33% of all patients on dialysis are Black. Further, those patients who are on dialysis are less likely to be referred for transplant. So it really is crucial that we evoke preventive measures to try and reduce progression of chronic kidney disease in our communities. So Dr. Jefferson, would you tell me a little bit more about the Black KARE's program?
Yes, so the Black KARE's program was able to partner with Longley Baptist Church here in Little Rock last year to do this program to look at kidney disease, as you mentioned, in the Black community, and to really highlight the risk factors related to that. So the risk factors are hypertension or high blood pressure, obesity or being overweight, and then also diabetes. And so we partnered with Longley. We had 73 participants who were a part of our program, and we really focused on culinary medicine. So with culinary medicine, we wanted to teach participants how to think about healthy eating related to diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and to really pick up on those risk factors and how they can decrease their risk factors. The other thing that we did was tell them a little bit more about how they can take control of their health, what they should be asking their doctors, what sorts of meals they might want to have. And we worked with a dietitian as well as members of our Little Rock chapter of the Links to do these programs virtually last year.
So we selected specific participants. Would you tell us a little bit more about the demographics of the population that participated?
Absolutely. So about 80% of our population were female and about 20% were male. We had most of our participants were in the older age group, so over 50 years old. A lot of the participants were retired, so about 40% of them were retired. And as far as underlying comorbid conditions, about 70% actually had hypertension or high blood pressure. Several of them also had diabetes and obesity or were overweight.
So this group was really at risk for development of chronic kidney disease if they didn't already have it.
That is right. They were definitely at risk. We also asked about exercise. About 50% of them exercised several times a week, but 50% of them did not exercise at all. We also wanted to ask a little bit about their kind of culinary history, so what sorts of meals were they eating and how many fruits and vegetables they had in their diet. We found that a high percentage of them did not have large servings of fruits and vegetables in their everyday diet.
I was really impressed with the number of our participants who actually prepared meals at home. You want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so we had a high percentage prior to our program who prepared meals at home. I would say about 25% said 5 to 7 days a week they were preparing their own meals at home. We still needed to work, however, on those fruits and vegetables like we mentioned and having enough servings. So only a small percentage had more than 2 or 3 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables in their diet.
And our culinary program is based on the Mediterranean diet. Would you speak to the knowledge base of our participants in the beginning?
Yes, so only less than 10% were familiar with the Mediterranean diet prior to starting the program. And so that's one thing that we really wanted to highlight, and it's really a cornerstone of culinary medicine.
We delivered the programming in 4 modules. Would you talk about those specific modules?
Absolutely. We worked with a dietitian from University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences and their culinary medicine program, and partnered with them to help us do 4 modules that were based on specific needs that we wanted to address, specific risk factors. So we had some that were mostly based on hypertension, so low salt diets. We had some based on diabetes, so really looking at how much protein and how many fluids you're getting in your diet. And then others based on obesity and being overweight, so how many carbohydrates and things like that you have in your diet. We also did a program here at Longley, starting off the program where we had patients come in for health screenings, where we did blood pressure and weight management and things of that nature.
And we did a combination, really, of culinary medicine education and chronic kidney disease awareness using Baxter's educational platform, which was phenomenal.
It was.
Yeah. And so would you speak to how the participants received this information?
We did all the information virtually. And the Baxter program, lots of their information was available online. So we were able to kind of point participants to those websites. We did all of the culinary medicine programs, so the 4 modules, via Zoom. And we had participants really let us know afterwards in a more virtual space how and when we could help them. The other thing that I failed to mention before is that we provided food to make the meals for each of the culinary medicine modules. So we gave all of that food for free to every single participant, and there was enough food to feed a family of 4 per module.
And how did we end the program?
So we ended the program right around, I guess it was around Christmas time, with the participants, and we thanked everyone for their participation. We had an acknowledgement here at the church also for our contribution with the health ministry here, and then we also gave them gift cards to get more healthy foods at places like Whole Foods.
With that being said, what we'd like to do is make sure that we thank our participants. They really did an invaluable service for our community, and we want to ensure that the community feels educated and empowered to address preventive health through food as medicine. So for more information, please visit the Little Rock chapter of Link's website and Baxter Black KARE website, noted at the bottom of the screen.
I'm Donna Terrell with the Little Rock chapter of the Links Incorporated, and we're talking about culinary medicine. I am joined by Elouise Hudson and her granddaughter, Jordan Hudson. Thank you both so much for participating, first of all, in the program. What made you decide to get involved in the first place?
Well, first of all, it was very convenient because it was being held here at the church. Right after church, we could pick up the box, and the box had everything in it. And the main thing, though, is that we were going to learn, and I was going to be able to share with my granddaughter how to cook healthy and make healthy meals.
So what did you learn, Jordan?
I learned how to measure, and I learned that the first time you cook the meal is not always going to turn out right. So sometimes I had to redo it.
Okay. So was there a favorite meal? Because from what I understand, you had red beans and rice, meatloaf, apricot chicken, and quinoa. Did you have a favorite out of all of those?
I think it was the chicken.
The chicken, the apricot chicken. What was so good about that?
I think the sauce was the best part that made it like flavorful.
Which brings me to a very interesting subject with this. You know, one of the things that this program has tried to do is eliminate all the foods that are bad for you and seasonings that are bad. So you're getting away from so much salt, yes. Especially when you think of how that has an effect on hypertension and other issues as well. So with these ingredients, was it flavorful? Was it good? Is it something that you would want to tell other people about?
I found it to be very flavorful, using the fresh garlic and the other herbs and spices. I found that I didn't have to use as much salt, and in some cases we didn't use any salt at all. So it really helped out, and we have actually cut back on salt in the household in preparing it.
If I may ask, because I know, you know, this program tackles a number of issues like hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. You're not obese. But do you have any of those underlying illnesses?
I have hypertension.
And did it make a difference at all in eating healthier foods? Did it make you feel better?
Well, I don't remember thinking about that, but I know my numbers were good, and they do continue to be good. I am on medication though, but I think a lot of times it just helps when you know you're doing the best that you can do, and healthy eating is definitely a part of that.
So this program was in 2021.
Yes.
Fall of 2021. Here we are today in 2023. Are you still doing this at all?
We're still
Cooking the chicken.
Yeah, she still likes making the chicken, and she follows the recipe to make sure we're using the right ingredients. And also, I'm not using as much salt as I said before when I'm preparing meals for the family.
I know you've mentioned that you've learned a lot about seasonings and how you can switch up now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, obviously the things that you learned with these dishes that we mentioned can be applied to other dishes.
Right.
So you're using some of those.
Yes. Actually, because we both signed up for the project, she had a set and I had a set. So we kind of had a lot of, the spices and ingredients left. And we were able to, I just started using them. Some of them I had never used before. I knew what they were, but I had never, it's always salt and pepper and maybe garlic salt and just seasoned salt. That was just it. But now I have begun to use some of those others in other dishes that I have prepared. And I haven't gotten any complaints from my husband, from her pawpaw. So, and he enjoyed them too. He enjoyed the meals.
Well, they are delicious meals. Jordan, you're young. Oftentimes we gear these programs to older adults. But in your case, being young, I know you said you love the chicken, but the message behind this is just healthy eating, doing things to take care of our bodies. What's your takeaway with that?
I think it was the reason I did it was to help her, me, and my grandfather, because I know we didn't have healthy habits, so that just made it better.
Have you seen a change now, overall?
Yes.
Okay. How do you encourage your grandma and your pawpaw to continue doing this? You're the catalyst to keep it going.
I think so. When I tell my papa to try, he'll be like, no, and I'll have her it's yeah. So I've been cooking since I was 3, and that brings it to I would make him eat the stuff. And so then he tried it and he was like, it's good, and it made it better.
That's good. So moving forward, what would you tell other people about this program and, whether they should try it themselves?
I would highly encourage other people to try the program. The links you all made it so easy. Just go ahead and pick up the box of food, give it a try, and see won't it make a difference in your everyday life.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you both for being a part of the program, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. And I would just like to thank you all for doing this too, because we definitely need it. We definitely do. And it's a worthwhile program. Thank you.
Thank you. So 20% of the participants in this program, the Black KARES program, were men. Joining me is one of them, Spencer Davis. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Overall thoughts about the KARES program, what did you think?
The overall thoughts were I enjoyed it a whole lot. And the reason that I enjoyed it is because most of the time women are doing the cooking, women are doing the shopping, but it gave me an opportunity to learn more of how to shop and how to cook.
Oh, we'll get into that in just a moment, but how did you get involved in the program in the first place?
I got involved in the program through our health and wellness ministry. Our health and wellness ministry always does projects at the church during out, like testing for high blood pressure or giving blood, things of that nature. And I was one of those participants that had high blood pressure. It was high at that time, but since then, it's a little better now.
Do you credit that from the meals that you began cooking through the Black KARES program?
Yes, I do. And the reason that I say that is because it's not that I wasn't eating right. It was the way that I was preparing my meals.
Explain.
When you prepare your meals, we like to put all these different seasonings to make the meal taste better, and not thinking about what those extra seasonings that we're putting on it is doing to our bodies.
So let's talk about the seasonings that you learned to use. How did they differ from what you've been using before?
Well, some of the seasonings we did use, but we didn't use as much in this program. So it taught us how to cut back on some of the seasoning, like salt. It's all right to have salt, but it's not to have abundance of it like we like to do. So it taught me how to use those seasons in moderations, and it taught me how to fix my meals that I can eat in moderations and not overdoing it.
So I can tell you're really excited about it. This is the part where you were telling me you learned a lot. So you have changed your behavior. This program was actually in 2021. Are you still doing it now? Are you still following it?
Yes, ma'am. Along with the things that we learn in the program, doctors will always tell you that exercise has to be done too. So we have been doing our exercises. And now when I shop, I know what to shop for as far as the meats wise. And I found out that I know what seasonings that I can use now from the program.
What do you shop for?
Well, usually when I shop, I usually shop for the meats. For instance, ground beef. We usually get ground beef. I usually find it with less fat. At the time, you know, when men go shopping, that's why we can go in the store and get what we need and come out quickly than women, because we're not looking at what we're getting. So we usually get that's going to be harmful to us. So now I'm able to go and look at labels and see what I need and see what I need to cut back on.
So, Mr. Davis, you're telling me that you're in the grocery store actually looking at those labels?
I am now. I didn't at first, but I am now.
I'm sure the organizers of this program are very thrilled that you are doing that. What would you tell to other men specifically? Because like I mentioned before, only 20%, which actually that's a good number, but 20% of this program involve men. How do we get more of them involved? What would you say to them?
What I would say to men is that we need to get in programs like this to learn our bodies. A lot of times we feel as though that there are certain things that we can do that would make things all right. Exercise is good, but if we're putting the wrong things in our bodies, that can be just as harmful to us as not exercising at all. So it would be detrimental to tell men that they need to get involved in this program, because it would help them tremendously, because it helped me.
And in helping you, I know one of the things you told me earlier is you have seen your blood pressure numbers improve since you've been eating healthier. You don't take medication, so you attribute all of this to the way you've been eating thanks to this program and exercise, of course.
Correct, because my blood pressure is down, my A1C is lower, my high cholesterol is lower, so my numbers are good. My numbers are real good. I just had my health and wellness physical, and all my numbers was good. The primary doctors were pleased.
What would you say to the members of the Little Rock chapter of Links Incorporated? What would you say to them for creating this program and getting you involved?
I just appreciate them for getting me involved, because it has truly been a blessing to me to be able to drop down those high numbers and to enjoy life and to enjoy eating healthy.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for participating, and keep doing it. Don't stop, and just spread the word. Keep spreading the word.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm now joined by Deara Threet, who was also a participant in the Black KARES program, sponsored by the Little Rock chapter of the Links Incorporated. How did it go?
It went well. It was very enjoyable and fun and very educational.
Let's talk about the fun aspect, because we've talked before about the education component, which we will now, but what made it fun?
Well, the fact that it was a group activity, that was fun for me. Seeing us come together, on a weekly basis and just getting in there and learning and growing together.
So what did you learn?
About, how important healthy eating is, especially in the African American community, our community. So, we hear how what we use isn't always good. So we learned how to use the right seasoning and the right ingredients. And, you don't always have to fry or boil something to death in order to make it, you have to get away from that.
Yeah, I like how you said you don't have to boil it to death. You could let it live a little bit, right?
Absolutely, yes, yes.
So, the program was a while ago. Are you still following the guidelines that you learned and had fun with?
Absolutely. The fact that we don't have to use a lot of salt, is a very important guideline, because that sodium is what, contributes to our hypertension and high blood pressure, and also the know-how in reading food labels. That's very important as well. And so I am very food label conscious.
And so this program taught you how to read food labels?
Well, I already knew how, but it reinforced, and made me get back to, doing that on a regular basis.
I think it's important for us to point out also that you have both hypertension and diabetes.
Yes, type 2.
Which is something this program addresses. Have you seen a difference in your overall health? Do you feel better?
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, combined with exercise, when I eat healthy, then that affects my numbers. My numbers are going in the right direction. So that's a big plus.
So have you had any discussions with any of your friends, neighbors, family members about how they can improve their health as well?
Not as much as I should have, but like my family was aware of the process and what I was doing and what I was learning and accomplishing. So yes.
So the family was aware. Did the family also get a chance to try any of these delicious meals?
Not really, not as much as I would like for them to, but we're going to work on that.
I was going to say, it sounds like you have work to do.
Yes, a little bit.
Was there a favorite meal that you just loved more than some of the others?
Surprisingly, it was the vegan meal, which was the quinoa and the zucchini and the grape tomatoes.
What was so good about that?
It just surprised me how much I enjoyed it, and that, you don't have to have meat and potatoes to have an enjoyable meal.
Now that's really saying something, because in the African American community, meat and potatoes always, and bread, and some of the other things
Absolutely.
That we could probably stay away from. I guess I'm just wondering, how do we share that particular message with others? Because when you think about just eating vegetables, most people don't want to hear that. How do you make them understand that it's a good thing?
I think we just have to have that conversation with them, and maybe, cook something up for them and prove it. Prove that it is a good meal.
So I'm sort of putting a little bit of this on you, so forgive me for that, but what are your plans to reach out to other people and to let them know about this program, and that perhaps this is something they should get involved with?
Just share with them my experience and what I gained from it, and how I think, or how I know that it will be beneficial to them as well.
Okay. We're going to look for you to do that.
Okay. You can hold me to it.
Okay. Thank you so much for being involved in the program.
You're very welcome.
And I'm glad you're feeling better too.
Absolutely. Thank you.